C17 has 4 reserved words, and you cannot use any of them as a name of your own. There they all are, and it is worth sitting with that list for a moment, because 4 is a remarkably small number. Compare it with well over 100 in C++. Almost everything you think of as part of C is not in this list. Printf is not here, malloc is not here, null is not here. Those are library, not language. The language itself is these 4 words plus the grammar that joins them, and that is genuinely most of why C is described as a small language. Notice the second group, the ones beginning with an underscore and a capital letter. Those were added by later standards, and the odd spelling is deliberate. We will see why on the next slide. So why the ugly spellings? Backwards compatibility. When C99 wanted to add a Boolean type, it could not simply reserve the word bool, because millions of lines of existing C already defined bool themselves as a typedef, or a macro, or an enum, and every one of those programs would have stopped compiling overnight. Underscore capital B, OOL, on the other hand, was a name nobody was allowed to have invented, for a reason we come to in a moment. So the standard took the ugly name and put a friendly one-line macro in a header. Include stdbool.h and you may write bool. Same story for aligners, alignof, static assert and thread local. C23 finally promotes the friendly spellings to real keywords, and the headers stay behind doing nothing so that old code keeps working. The rules for your own names are short. Letters, digits and underscores, and it must not begin with a digit, which is why 2D array will not compile and array 2D will. Names are case sensitive, so count with a capital C, and count in capitals are 3 entirely different variables. And using that fact as a deliberate technique is a good way to make somebody hate reading your code. And on length, the standard only guarantees that the first 31 characters are significant for internal names, and 63 for external ones, meaning a conforming compiler is allowed to treat 2 names as identical if they agree that far. In practice, no modern compiler does this, and you can write names as long as you like. Just be aware the guarantee is smaller than the reality, and that on external names it is the linker's limits you would actually be testing. And then a short list of names that are legal to type but that you are not allowed to invent. Anything beginning with an underscore followed by a capital letter or with 2 underscores belongs to the implementation, always. In every scope, which is precisely why underscore capital B, OOL was a safe name for the standard to grab. A single leading underscore at file scope is reserved to, and names beginning str, mem, is to, or a capital E followed by a lowercase letter are reserved for future standard library growth, so do not write your own str trim or is valid. Breaking any of these produces no error today. It breaks on the day you upgrade your compiler and the standard library grows a function with your name on it, and the message you get then will make no sense at all. Finally, the conventions this book uses, and they are the mainstream C conventions rather than anything invented here. Variables and functions in snake case, lowercase words joined by underscores, like student count. Macros and constants in upper snake case, so that max students in capitals is visibly a macro at the call site, which matters. Because macros do not obey the scope rules we spent this chapter learning, and you want to know when you are looking at one. Types in Pascal case, with a leading capital, like point. And internal helpers marked static, which is a naming convention in spirit even though it is a keyword. None of this is enforced by the compiler. All of it is enforced by other people reading your code, and consistency is worth far more than which convention you picked. Pick the one the project already uses.